guys? My name is Brandon, and welcome to Audio Addiction, where you can find the latest album reviews, you can find our band interviews, and you can find live coverage of the concerts that we get. Um, we're going to see A Lot Like Birds this week, as well as Emarosa and our good friends in Civil Youth on Saturday. So if you are in the Philly area, come see what's going on. I'm going to be at Philly in not 3 different locations, just 3 different days of the week. So if you are hanging out at any of those shows, come say what's going on. I'd love to meet you guys. Thank you for your support. Thank you for getting us over 400 subscribers. We're well on our way to 500, and I can't believe it. So thank you guys so much. I'm completely humbled and just so thankful for all of you guys who continue to support the channel. It does mean a lot. So if you enjoy what we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure to hit that like button as well. And today, we're going to be talking about Rosen Bridge's new EP, Dreamcatcher. I want to start off this review with thanking Laura from Inception Press over in the UK for sending me this record a little bit early. Sorry it came out or is coming out on the day of release, but definitely check Rosen Bridge out if you can. Like I said, they just released their new record Dreamcatcher out today, so definitely check it out on Spotify, or if you could purchase it on iTunes, I would totally do so, or anything in terms of those platforms as well. So I want to go through each track, give you my thoughts on it. I'll go through some pros and cons, and then I'm going to give my overall rating of the record, and yeah, we'll wrap it up from there. So the first track is called Dreamcatcher. This is the first single off of the EP, and obviously is the title track. I feel like this track starts off right out the gate. I really like that the lead guitar is kind of at the forefront of this track. You definitely will not get it muddled with anything else. I like that. I like that it's very forefronted in that regard. I feel like the vocals are really good as well. I like what's going on with that. It reminds me a lot of the cleans from Tesseract in that regard. So that's really solid. I feel like this track definitely has a groove to it. It feels very much in the vein of, I mean, it doesn't really have any screams, so I'd probably consider it maybe like metal, or maybe even like a little bit of hard rock, I'd say. Kind of in a combination of that. But I definitely think it's a really solid track. I like the guitar solo towards the end. I definitely think it was a nice touch to this track. And then overall, I definitely feel like this track was pretty straightforward in its direction, but I definitely feel like it was good nonetheless. I think it's definitely a good opener track to the record. It kind of gives you an idea of what they're going to sound like, and just an overall feeling of how the rest of the EP is going to go. So we're going to move into track number 2, which is Hold On. I feel like this track is a continuation of Dreamcatcher in that regard. I feel like vocally, I'm definitely liking the cadence of his voice and just his overall melodies that he's chosen to come up with. And I just feel like his runs are really solid as well. I also feel like the instrumentals are really solid as well. There isn't anything that sticks out to me in particular, but I definitely feel like it's solid writing in that regard. I feel like the leads are definitely a nice touch, and they add a lot of atmosphere to the track as well. But like I mentioned, there doesn't feel like too much of a deviation from Dreamcatcher in terms of that. Like I said, it feels like very much like a continuation of Dreamcatcher. So we're going to move it into track number 3, which is Never Grow. Really liking the reverby sort of clean guitar intro of this track as well. I like that the vocalist has some grit and strain in this track in certain parts, and definitely tends to have that sort of emotional attachment to it as well, which I enjoy. I like that this track is a little bit more melodic in its approach as opposed to the previous tracks. I think it's really solid in that regard. I think it doesn't obviously get confused with any other track because it feels very much like, a completely new track in that regard. I like the addition of the breakdown at around the 2-minute mark. I think that's a really solid, just kind of bridge breakup kind of a thing. And I also like the addition of group vocals throughout the track. I definitely feel like it's a nice little touch. But like compared to the other tracks, I feel like this one is just a little bit different, and I think I like this one a little bit more than the previous two. So we're going to move it into the last track, which is Brand New. This one is my favorite track. Really liking the cool sort of drum solo intro of this track as well. I feel like vocally this one is probably the most diverse track. It definitely has some lower register stuff as well as some like mid-range stuff as well as screaming as well, to add to the arsenal. I definitely like that approach as well. And I would definitely say that this is the heaviest track off the record. I would definitely say that this is the heaviest track off the record without a doubt. It has this great groove to it. I definitely like the addition of breakdowns in this track as well. I know that they kind of hinted at it in track number 3, Never Grow, but I like that they kind of took it to the next level in this track in particular. I definitely feel like the bridge is super cool as well. And I definitely feel like the track goes in at around the 3 minutes and 45-second mark. This is a little bit of a longer track. I think it's about at 5 minutes, so it definitely, in that regard, has a lot of weight to it as well. And I definitely feel like it's a great way to kind of end off the EP. While it doesn't really round out, what they sound like, I definitely feel like it's a great sort of outlier sort of track. So I'm going to get into the pros and cons. The pros, I feel like they definitely did some solid work. Vocally, I really like what's going on with that. I like that it was somewhat diverse. Obviously, wasn't really, really diverse, but it was diverse enough. But some of my cons would be that it doesn't feel like cohesive in that regard. If you go from track number 1, Dreamcatcher, to Brand New, there is a complete just gap between like how you got from that point to that point. And I understand that they have to have tracks to kind of break up things, but considering that this is only a 4-track EP, it doesn't feel like it's all together. It just feels like they're totally two different bands in that regard. While they do have some similarities, it just doesn't feel very connected in that regard. It just feels like these tracks, especially Dreamcatcher and Hold On, kind of bleed into each other, and they just don't have that sort of oomph that I was expecting, that just little sort of extra that is maybe needed in an album like this. I think it's definitely solid work, and considering that I haven't heard of them prior to this, I definitely think it's really solid. But for the next release, I feel like they just need to expound upon either doing things that are different or kind of keeping into the same vein of that, maybe with some additional things just to kind of keep everything under wraps, because it does feel very weird when you're listening to track 1 and 2 and then you get into 3 and 4 and they're completely different in that regard. So I feel like there definitely needed to be maybe like a middle track where it kind of combines the two sort of elements, and then you can go from like a Dreamcatcher song where it's like all clean to kind of with cool guitar parts to like Brand New where it's heavy and aggressive, without a doubt. So I definitely feel like there definitely need to be a middle ground in terms of this album. But, obviously being their first record, I feel like they did a solid job. So my overall rating of Rosen Bridge's Dreamcatcher EP, I'm going to be giving it an 8.2 out of 10. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this band. I will leave a link at the end card for their music video, Dreamcatcher. Make sure to check that one out. Make sure to go check them out on social media as well. Let me know like I said, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on them. Do you think it was a good EP? What do you think? Have you checked it out? Have you heard of them before? If you haven't, and then you went to go check them out, what's your thoughts on them? Certainly would like to know and have a discussion on that. So, thank you guys for that. Also, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure to hit that like button as well. It really does go a long way. And thank you for your support. And we also have a merch store. If you'd like to pick up something from our merch store, that would be greatly appreciated, and thank you very much. So, my name is Brandon, and we hope you got your fix, and we'll be talking with you soon. Peace. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, of course. If you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps out our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.